A video called The State of ShuffleDB, which is an overview of the current state of my project and everything that I need to do for it within the next 3 or 4 months to consider it done. It will never truly be done, but I want the bulk of the work on this project to be over with in the next 3 or 4 months. So this is the home page, and you will see many of the pages as I go through this video, but we also have the visualizer. There's all sorts of other sections that you'll see as I'm going through all of the bugs and updates and everything that needs to happen for the app for it to have a thorough flow going to it. It is a community-based web app that is database heavy, that is designed around users making contributions. It will be a contribute or pay model. So users will take missions in order to get points, and points convey continued access. Or if you don't want to take missions to get points to get access, then you can also pay for access. The site is divided into different types: positions, moves, simple cycles, transitions, combinations, and choreography. And the Shuffleverse, this is the Shuffleverse right here. It is a hierarchy tree visualization of all the content items. This is the content admin page. It is for the admin to create content items and to add information to them, particularly media and video links for those content items. And it will have settings for locking it, making it public facing, to how many points are awarded for taking the mission for that item. So content items will have missions that can be taken for those content items when the admin sets the mission as available. If you take the mission, then taking the mission adds content to the content item when it is approved in the mission administrator page. So basically, users do challenges in order to get points, and when they do those challenges, they're contributing to the database, growing the database. And so if someone can't afford to pay for access, then they can contribute through content and get access. In that way, no matter what, this website is growing. And I'm trying to create a comprehensive system for, having like good flow control for just getting the feedback loops going on having a very robust, it says up at the top, a definitive collection of crowdsourced shuffle dance moves. So that's the idea. I originally built ShuffleDB in CodeIgniter, which uses the model view controller system for building web apps, but I eventually reached a point where I was not making progress. I believe I was using GPT-3 and then later some GPT-4 in order to build it, and here's all the views. All of this stuff still exists, and I can go back and look at the work that I did on it, but I have migrated over into Next.js for this project, and essentially converted a lot of these files over to make it so that I just have more potential for finishing. So in this folder, here's the current project. And yeah, this is the current state of things. I've got all of the pages in here, and I've got a whole components library. The componentization of the project has been really quite important for making progress. The content admin page needs to be able to create an empty content item so that I can quickly create a new one. When I duplicate an item, I have to reload it in order for it to show up. And that's what I've been doing to create a new content item, is just duplicating one that already exists, deleting the stuff in it, and then putting stuff in that one. But I need to make a better way. When I do duplicate an item, I need it to duplicate the item and all of the stuff in it. And I also need it to be visually created. Now this search bar it needs to be the same size as this right here. This only happens on the content admin page, specifically on the phone, but when I load the content admin page, the header and the nav bar spans the entire width of the page, but the content admin page content itself is like only spanning part of it. It needs to span the entire thing automatically. Classification tab in the content admin page is a bit jumbled. It just needs to be made visually pretty. It's functional. It just needs to look better. The range and required and suggested checkboxes on the mission video links needs to actually save to the database. The video links are saving, but not that information. It needs to be saved to that particular content item. And the search bar in the content admin page, it needs to be dark mode. This area right here, I need to set it up so that it loads the front view of a random 8 items that are set to public, and then when you click on that particular one, they need to be like a slideshow mode, like a video playing that's passing by, and then if you click on it, it will go to that mission item. It will only show items that are set to public. I need to review all of the text and links in all of the accordions on the home page, just so that the text in here reflects the current state of the site. These links will need to be updated when the user system is installed. I switched from CodeIgniter to Next.js, so it's going to have a whole new login and user system. These will all need to be updated, and these pages will need to be reviewed. Of each page, I have a color indicator. It's this little square. It indicates the width of the page. I need to match up this width because at the top of here, one of the words is getting cut off, so it needs to be probably moved over to the left and get the alignment set up so that the top of the A is in alignment with the top of the M right there. When the user is logged in and you're logged in as the administrator, on the Shuffleverse page, we've got these icons, the folders and the houses and the links. It should conditionally render a link for the administrator so that he can click on another icon and have it go to the content admin page, but specifically filtering for just that item. So that way you can be looking at the Shuffleverse page and go directly to editing that item as the administrator. On the Shuffleverse page, you can open up the folders and display all of the items in it, but it is possible for you to open up more than one and they overlap. So what needs to happen is that when you open one up, it needs to adjust the padding around that node so that it has enough space for them not to overlap. The way how this could be handled is only allow one to be open at a time, but I don't think that that's ideal. But I would also like it so that when you open up a folder, we know the measurements of like how wide the tree is and how wide the nodes are and how wide the next tree is and how, because it's smaller than the original one, and how wide the second level nodes are. What I would want is that when the user clicks on a folder to open it, it would automatically slide over that number of pixels. We also would want to add a zoom to this so that you can zoom in and out of it. I mean, I guess I can do it this way, but you can't zoom out further. Yeah, I need a zoom. Now, these little house icons right here, we need to re-implement the code for when you press the house, it will realign that node as the parent node. And so it would, so if you click on the house, it would make soccer step the parent node, and then it would show just the items within that. Then we need to, once we've got that working, again, previously had that working, but once that's working, we need to set it up so that that can be displayed in an individual component and display that in the categories section of the content item displays in other areas of the site. This is the content display page. When you go to one of the links on that tree, it will show you the individual item. It's for displaying read-only display of all the information pertaining to that item. We've done I guess this is the second pass. The classification needs work. The media, these video links need to be sorted. We need to add additional settings in the content admin page for setting these as the core move and for variations. So this will get split into two different parts so that we can put all of the core moves in an individual area, and then the variants in another area. And the variants need to have a link on it for creating a new content item or taking the mission. And the creating it as a new content item will only appear for the administrator. Actually, now that I think about it, we also will want administrators for the items that are not a core move, that are variations. We would want to also have a create mission icon, but that code should be commented out for the time being until the user system and the mission creator is fully implemented. Previously, up at the top, near where it says Shuffleverse here, I had a categories link, but I replaced that with Shuffleverse. And in the Shuffleverse page, up here in the top info pane, we need to add a link for the categories list and the just the categories list. And so here it is. That's the categories list. We need to restyle that so that it looks prettier. And we need to restrict some of these options just for being available to the admin. And then we need to do some work on the category creation. Specifically, the parent content item is selecting the type and not a content item, so that needs to be fixed. And the category type is debatable if it's even necessary, and we need to make it so that it can at least be unset. Now, the content display page, once it's further filled out with all of its details, then it's going to become the prototype for all these other pages. In that drop down, I fixed a bug in the drop down. For the longest time, if you clicked in any of these areas, it was acting as if the drop down was already opened, and I've gotten that fixed so it's behaving properly. I also got it so the animation is not shifting around these top items. They were kind of moving left and right as this was cycling. But so when you click on, this is the moves page, these items are just showing the name and the description, but all of the items in the content display page, which I've moved off of, I can go to this one. When I'm basically everything in the content display page needs to be put into those. Let's see. This one would show all of the other stuff inside of it. And that needs to be replicated for all of these categories: positions, moves, simple cycles, transitions, combinations, choreography. But that'll be fairly easy once the content display page is thoroughly improved. All the stuff within that accordion will just be transferred into these, and it will pull up all the items accordingly. Now, this is the missions page, but as soon as I get the user system installed and functioning so that there's an administrator and other accounts, for any user other than the administrator, we want to gray out the missions simply because it's going to take a while for that to be implemented, and I would prefer for all the other systems to be implemented first before we get the missions working. It's fine for me as the administrator to first be the one populating all of these items, but once we've gotten all this other stuff I'm talking about done, we're going to start setting up the missions so that drafts are actually being implemented. All of the items in the content administrator will need to be set up so that they are saving the username and the time of the modification for every update. By default, it will be, if you're doing it from the content administrator, it will save as having been done by the administrator. But when, for all of the missions, when they're taken, it's going to create a draft, and when the draft is approved by the administrator, then it will then add it to the content items, but it will log the time and the user of the mission and the mission ID. Now, I used to have something called the mission administrator page. However, that was turned into the content admin page, where the admin can modify any content item. However, we're going to now recreate a new mission administrator page, which specifically will be the approval process for the administrator to approve and modify drafts of missions. And then when they get approved, then they're pushed into the content items. On the content display page, we've got this area here, and I want it to show the front view by default. And then I want to be able to like flip through it and see all the other views. Also, from the Shuffleverse page, I want to be able to have some sort of preview of the content, like the nodes that are content items. Like if you click on this, like maybe like a rectangle would show up below it containing basic information and previews of the perspectives. I made my first attempt on the content admin page to sort by group, and it was not successful. It has everything as uncategorized. I'm certain that can work, but so I need to create a component that will create an accordion for the accordions to go within. So accordions within accordions, and then at the top, like around this area, this button would go into the sorting, and we want to add more sorting items, be able to sort by date, sort by user, sort by all sorts of criteria. This drop down should get much larger, but one of the options will be sort by category, and then we want to get that working on one level, the top level category, but then eventually there should be able to be folders within folders. So all of the running man items will be grouped together. All of the W step items will be grouped together. It'll work similar to how we see the tree here. Oh, I'm on the mind map. It'll group similar to the folders here, but just as accordions. And speaking of the mind map, we need to create the mind map, because that'll be really enjoyable in terms of showing interlinking connections between the content items, not just a tree, but the relationships between the items. Now, one of the ways how those interlinking relationships will be created is the addition of hashtags to the classifications tab. It not only will show multiple parent categories if you want, or multiple parent categories, or one or more parent content items, but also hashtags that will get tagged to that content item. In the description, we will also have some additional checkboxes, like if it's a reverse move, if it's a half speed move, if it's an embellishment, just like various properties that would apply to that content item. And then so that will get reflected in the mind map. Now, every content item in ShuffleDB is of a type. These are all moves, or actually they're not all moves. Here, these are all moves, and but the types are positions, moves, simple cycles, transitions, combinations, and choreography. And this leads to the holy grail of a component that I have not yet built. But each one of these, there's a page that I want to make called the assembler, or a component that I want to make that's called the assembler. And the assembler assembles the type based off of the things that fit into it. Like a move is comprised of two positions and a transition at least, or a series of them. A Simple cycle is combined by moves interlinked by transitions. A combination is created by a series of positions transitions which make up moves that are connected by transitions. A choreography is made up of all of the above, interlinking all together in one seamless long performance. So the assembler will take on the role, it will adapt to which type it is, so if you are creating position, it will require at least an image of the position. If you're creating a move, it will need at least the two positions and the transition. And the way how the assembler will work is you will add the different required types to it to create a little timeline of that content item. And that's the holy grail of this project. I thought it was the hierarchy tree, or the mind map, but really the assembler is what's going to make this. Now, if you think about it, each one of these will have a starting position and an ending position, even if it's just the same position. So if you have the starting position and ending position of the moves, or a simple cycle, or a transition, or a combination of choreography, you will be able to have an AI agent go into the database, and it will know what position it starts and ends at, and what transitions that can move to get to somewhere else. So I will be able to create an agent that will do generative choreography.